Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss John Keats' poem La Belle Dame Sandra Merci. We will go through John Keats' biography. John Keats was an English romantic poet. He was one of the main figures of the second generation of romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. Despite his works having been publication for only 4 years before his death from tuberculosis at the age of 25. Throughout his poetry, he idealized nature, love, and immortality. And poetry of Keats is characterized by a style heavily loaded with sensualities, most notably in the series of odes. This is typical of the romantic poets as they seemed to accentuate extreme emotion through an emphasis on natural imagery. John Keats was heavily inspired by the Elizabethan poetry and also the Elizabethan poets Spenser, Shakespeare. John Keats have coined the term negative capability in a letter in 1817 to describe a writer's ability to accept uncertainties, mysteries, doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. Yes, you guessed it right. It is the term negative capability and it is very famous. Keats argues that an author whose works exhibit negative capability writes about beauty only and does not try to rationalize things or delve into an explanation or analysis of truth. Accordingly, Keats' poems leave certain uncertainties, ambiguities, and doubts open to the reader's imagination. We can note that in Ode on a Grecian Urn, he says, "Beauty is truth, truth beauty." Keats worked as a junior house surgeon in 2 hospitals in London in 1814. After 1817, he began devoting a major part of his time to writing poems. In the autumn of 1818, Keats nursed his younger brother Tom, who was suffering from severe tuberculosis. Around the same time, Keats met Fanny Brown, his neighbor in Hampstead, with whom he soon fell in love. The disease and the early demise of his brother, his own disease, and the rupture of the bond with Fanny Brown created a deep impact on his own poetic career. His career was cut short as he succumbed to tuberculosis at the age of 26. Notable works of Keats are Hyperion, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to Autumn, Ode on Melancholy, Ode to Psyche, Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on Indolence, on first looking into Chapman's Homer, Isabella, La Belle Dame Sandra Merci. Most of the works are written in 1819, which is the most productive year of Keats' career. Coming to the title of the poem, La Belle Dame Sandra Merci, it is taken from the title of the French poem On Courtly Love, written by Alain Chartier in 1424, and the literary translation of the title is The Beautiful Woman Without Any Pity. The form of poetry is ballad, the tone is somber and sorrowful, the setting is late autumn England during age of chivalry. The poem is a dialogue between an unidentified person and a knight. The former asks the knight, "Why does he look so pale and feverish?" The knight responds with his story about the beautiful fairy woman. Why does Keats adopt the ballad form? Because they were used by the Romantic poets as a form of revolt against neoclassical poetry. What are the features of this poem as a ballad? First one is simplicity of language, second one repetition, third one narration through the use of imagery rather than details, and next one is the presence of supernatural elements. Now we can just see a simple summary of the poem. The poem figures a femme fatale who attracts lovers only to endanger them using her supernatural powers. The lady ensnares a knight who falls in love with her. The poem and its characters also provide a window to the heroic chivalric code of medieval knights. Bravery, heroism, and politeness towards women are some of the virtues of a medieval knight that the poem brings forth. The poem also touches on the disillusionment in love that Keats himself experienced. La Belle Dame Sandra Merci exposes the precarious other side of idyllic love that Keats had fondly set lyric in The Eve of St. Agnes. This poem was first published in 1820. Now we can move on to the line-by-line explanation of the poem. First stanza. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. Kindly note down the meanings so that it will help you to get a clear understanding. First word, first line is ail. Ail means cause difficulty to you. Thee is you. Knight at arms simply means knight, and loitering means wandering aimlessly. Sedge means a plant. Withered means decay and slowly disappear. The first stanza introduces the poem's main problem and character and builds the setting and also establishes the form. The poem starts on a tone of lament. In isolation, the opening O might just as easily look like the start of a meditation on nature's beauty or love's glory, but quickly the word ail, that is, it means pains or afflicts, intervenes and clarifies one of the poem's main themes. This is a poem about pain and the struggle to understand it. The O then kicks off the inquiry of an empathetic observer. The archaic thee gives the reader an early hint about the time period of the poem setting, one confirmed by the addressee's title in the next clause, A Knight at Arms. Most likely this poem takes place in the Middle Ages, when no one wouldn't necessarily be surprised by the sudden appearance of a knight. Here the knight is described as alone and palely loitering. These words alone, pale and loitering also hint at the main theme of the poem. The knight is all alone but was once with someone he loved. He is pale or reminiscent of death and he loiters, incapable of moving on to the next thing. The next two lines, third and fourth line, builds on the theme of death and further establish the setting. The sedge or grassy plant life has withered from the lake. By using the perfect tense in has withered, the poem suggests that the withering, though complete, happened recently. Now, evaluating the stanzas of the poem, we can see that Keats have used the quatrains or 4-line stanzas in this one, and the first 3 lines of every stanza are in iambic tetrameter, that is, each has 8 syllables, and the 4th line of each stanza has 4 to 5 syllables. So, the summary of first stanza is that a conversation between this person, unidentified person, and a knight is happening, and this person asks the knight, why are you so pale, why are you so wandering alone? And we can see that the plant has withered from the lake and there is no birds to sing. That means the autumn has been just entered and it's the start of winter. Second stanza. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard and so woebegone? The squirrel's granary is full and the harvest done. Here, meaning of haggard is tired or ill. Woebegone means looking very sad. Now, The second stanza also emphasizes the first stanza's theme. The person is again asking, why are you so tired? Why are you so ill? And why are you looking very sad? We can see that the squirrel's granary is full and the harvest is almost done. That also indicates that it is the end of the season, autumn. The stranger repeats his inquiry in this second stanza that, what troubles you, night? Please tell me, why are you so sad? Coming to third stanza, I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose, fast withereth too. Here, the meaning of anguish is having some tension or some sorrow, and here withereth just simply means wither. Wither means decaying or slowly disappearing or fading. Okay, now when we see this stanza, we can know that this is also spoken by that unidentified person or the stranger to the knight. And here the knight's face is pale like a lily, and his forehead is sweaty with anguish, with fever. So his color is firstly fading from his cheeks, and he is just like a fading rose. The rosiness in his cheeks is fading to a pale lily, and we can see that the youthful vigor of this knight have been lost from his face. Coming to the next stanza, I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. The meaning of the meads is meadow, and the spelling fairy, F-A-E-R-Y, just means fairy, F-A-I-R-Y in our modern times, and the stanza is very clear. If you read it, you know that the speaker has changed from this identified person to the knight. Knight is speaking from this stanza and till the end, we can see. Now he describes about a lady he have met in the meadow, in the green meadow, and about her appearance we are seeing. How is she? It is described in this stanza. She is very beautiful. She is like a fairy's child. She is having a long hair, and her foot was light, like she was floating like an angel, and her eyes were very wild. Next stanza, I made a garland for her head, and bracelets too, and fragrant sown. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan. Now, here the meaning of garland is a wreath of flowers, and fragrant sown means a belt of flower. The meaning of mourn is a low sound of pain or suffering. Here it is denoted to express her passion for the knight. This is also written in a very simple way, and we can see that out of love for this beautiful lady, this knight have made a garland for her head, and also he made some bracelets for her, and it is very fragrant. It is made about flowers, and it is very much sweet smelling. This beautiful lady looks at the knight like she is loving him, and she is making some sweet moan that indicates her passion for the knight. Next stanza, I set her on my pacing steed, and nothing else so all day along. For sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy song. Here the meaning sidelong would she bend means bending towards his side. Here we can see she is dancing, and she is like very much happy, and she is singing a fairy song. She is dancing, she is bending to sideways, and she is very much happy with the knight. The second line of the stanza, and nothing else so all day long means when we are in love, we do not see the negatives of a person, nor we do see anyone else. We only see the lady or the boy who are before us. And this knight can only see the presence of the lady, the magnanimous beauty of the lady, and that is why the lady has been setting her powers of seduction to this poor knight. Next stanza. She found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manna dew, and sure in language strange she said, I love thee true. Here the meaning of relish is to enjoy. Language strange means unlearned language of fairy, and thee means you. As we have already seen that this lady is having a fairy kind of atmosphere with her, and she is speaking some other language, and she talks to this knight that I love you truly. And this lady has given the knight some tasty roots, honey, and some manna to eat. Manna means food from heaven. And this fairly lady seemed to be supernatural, if not actually divine. Next stanza. She took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed full sore, and there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses four. Elfin grot means a mythical cave where fairies live. So she is more like a fairy or more like a supernatural being. So she takes this poor knight to her elfin grot. That means a cave where she have been living. And after taking him to there, she is weeping, she is crying, and she is extremely sad. At that time, Knight kisses her eyes with so many kisses and shuts her eyes with so much soothing love. Next stanza. And there she lulled me asleep, and there I dreamt, oh betide, the latest dream I ever dreamed on the Coles hillside. Here, lulled means sent to sleep. Woe betide means extreme grief. Latest dream means last dream. So here, this fairy, this supernatural lady, made this knight sleep. And as they slept together on the hillside, he had a dream. He had a great dream where he saw some pale kings and princes too. In the next stanza, it is given, I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, dead pale were they all. They cried, La Belle Dame Sandra Merci hath thee in thrall. So connecting these two paragraphs only we can give the explanation. So in his dream, this poor knight saw some pale kings and princes, pale warriors, and also whomever he saw in this dream were very pale. He saw the deadly vision of kings, princes, and warriors. They all cried out to him that the lady has no mercy and he has trapped, now he must well. The last line of the stanza, hath thee in thrall, means have you in bondage. That means this lady have trapped the poor knight in her seduction, in her trap. The second last stanza of the poem, I saw their starved lips in the gloam, with horrid warning gaped wide, and I awoke and found me here on the cold hillside. And this is why I sojourn here, alone and palely loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake and no birds sing. The second last paragraph, the word gloam means to light. Horrid means unpleasant. Gaped means open. The last stanza. Sojourn means stay in a certain place for a period of time. Now we can see what does the second last paragraph mean. So after this dream has come to the mind of the knight, he sees the starved lips of the knights, warriors, kings, princes with mouth opened, and it was very unpleasant to see that. After that, he suddenly wakes up from his sleep, and what happens is that he finds himself not in this cave, not in this elfin grot, but by a side of a cold hill. And from that time onwards, he have been wandering all alone through the sedge, through the plants, through the forest, and he is now palely loitering, just like the kings, just like the warriors, just like the princes whom he have seen in his dream. And he have nothing else to say. He have been since lonely, without any sign of his lover, and he has been wandering aimlessly throughout the forest to find none, and he grows pale, and now he is like a fading rose, and fading rose means that it's a poetic image signifying the youthful vigor and happiness that has departed from the life of the knight. So we can say that this poem is about unrequited love, and a love between a supernatural being, a fairy's child, and a knight. This is also considered as a mysterious narrative, and it have an ethereal atmosphere, and the poem combines innocence and seduction in an unusual ballad form to produce a haunting story. Many critics consider the knight in the poem as the poet John Keats himself. So, this is just a simple explanation of the poem La Belle Dame Sandra Merci. Hope you have understood it. If you have any doubts regarding the same, please post in the comment section and let me know if you have liked the video, and also any additional topics you need to take. Please don't hesitate to comment. So thank you so much for watching my video.